Well, first of all, the reason I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad was because I knew this time was coming. And we have, as a world, have never been here before. And so is it a spooky time? Damn yeah, it is probably the most dangerous time ever, 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 ever. There's nothing to compare it to because there's never been a world economy before. For example, 100 years ago, if there was a stock market crash in England, it didn't affect anybody. But now the US market goes down, the world goes down. So plus with social media and all this we're doing now, and so we've never been here before. And I'm excited about it because I make more money in crashes than I do when they go up. So, but for the average person, they'll get wiped out. I'm afraid at the worst, I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're heading for a global depression.
Global depression?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Depression. I mean, people are depressed. The economy stays down. It's hard to come back up. And now the good news is that for those who are prepared for it, like you and things like this, you'll do better. See, not everybody dies in a plane crash. Some plane crashes. But the last crash in 2008, I was on Wolf Blitzer's program 6 months before Lehman Brothers went down, and I said Lehman was going down. And nobody listened, but it went down. And so I've been expecting this market to go down for quite a while. And I'm concerned about my fellow human beings. But as you know, most Americans are clueless. They don't know what's going on. But if you travel the world, I just got back from Africa and China and Japan and New Zealand. People are scared. Australia, which hasn't had a recession in 30 years, is in recession. But Americans are fat, dumb, and happy, having a good time, which is good. But I'm concerned. That's all I can say. I'd be afraid if I had kids.
You'd be afraid about having kids today?
If I had kids, no. I think as an adult you can go hungry, but you don't want to see your kids go hungry, and that's what's going to happen.
Do you think it's going to get that bad?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: what is the biggest factor that's going to cause that?
Well, the reason I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the U.S. dollar. That's my book over there, Fake, which came out last year. Fake money, fake teachers, fake assets. And the U.S. dollar is fake. Never in the history of the world has any fake money ever survived. And we're doing the same thing. We just keep printing this money. And when I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad almost 25 years ago, people said I didn't know what I was talking about. I said savers would be losers. Now, today there's quantitative easing, which is counterfeiting money. And then you have zero interest rates. And people are still saving money. Are you nuts? They just printed, I think, $500 billion in September of this year because the repo market is going down. And the average guy goes, well, what's the repo market? They don't know. So that's why it's fake money, fake teachers, fake assets. Our education system, it has been my rant forever. Why don't we teach people about money? Why is it? We all use money, but we don't teach people about it. So that's why I'm concerned. And I wrote this book, Who Stole My Pension? It's already sold out. But I wrote Who Stole My Pension because was the reason I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The two authors here, me and myself, Edward Siddell, we both had dads who lost everything. And when I was in my 20s and my poor dad lost everything, it scarred me. And I said, I'm never gonna let anybody ever do that to me. So I had just come back from Vietnam in '73. My dad was unemployed, poor dad was unemployed, and he tells me to go fly for the effing airlines. I said, are you kidding me? And he says, go back to school, get your master's and get your PhD. I said, are you kidding me? Here the guy is unemployed. He's got no pension, he's got no paycheck, and he's telling me to go back to school. I said, what, learn nothing? And those guys who, my friends who flew for United Airlines, they're broke today. Their pensions were stolen. US Air, same thing. You look at what's going on in Paris today as we talk, they're rioting. Millions of people are rioting because of pensions. Japan, they're rioting because of pensions.
Terrible, you see them, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Americans, I wonder how my 401k is doing. I'm going, gee, I'd be a little bit worried, but they don't know. Americans live in a fishbowl, everybody sees in, but Americans can't see out. So like I travel the world constantly, and what I see going on in the world is disturbing. I was just in Argentina, and I took my kid brother there, and he came back a changed man. He says, "You weren't kidding, were you?" I said, "No, I wasn't." My brother could not believe that what happened in Argentina is going to happen here. You know, today, when I refer to 2008, most people remember 2008. Do you know what I mean? That's when Lehman went down, Bear Stearns went down.
38% drop.
Yeah, they all remember it. But when I started Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the only thing they had was the Depression. You know, I came out in 1997, Rich Dad, Poor Dad came out. And their only reference points was the Depression. And none of the people I talked to remember the Depression. So the fear today, I think people are a little bit wiser, is because they do remember 2008, and they do remember 2000. So 2008, 2000, 2008, and here we are today. So I think most people are at least kind of tuned in. I hope it doesn't come down, but I'm afraid it will. That's what I have to say.
Most people are more tuned in today because it was only 12 years ago when the last market crash happened. I remember 08. 08 was pretty ugly. We started our agency a year later in 09. And
That's the smartest thing you could have done.
Yeah, believe me, it benefited us because we got a contract with AIG at the time and a few insurance companies, and we started growing, but everybody was scared. And a part of, you know, the business for us is fear sharpens listening. If you're able to monetize on fear, you can really do some stuff when the market changes.
But I want to say what you did was really, really smart, because the best time to start a business is right after a crash. I made more money after 2008 than I ever in my whole entire life, because everybody was hiding like little cockroaches.
Wow, you made more money after 2008 than your entire life.
Yeah, so when, you know, here I'm talking about the coming depression, everybody says, "Oh, you're such a pessimist," you know. I go, "No, I'm excited." You know, I get sexually stimulated thinking about all the bargains that are going to be on the street, you know what I mean? It's going to be bargains everywhere. But everybody else, "Oh, you're pessimistic." No, I'm actually optimistic. So anyway, so you're very smart. Just, you know, when I study business. Guys who start right after a crash do very well most of the time.
It's work for us, you know, whether it was smart, luck, or wise, or a little bit of all
just
of it,
stupid.
we'll take it. As long as we
just
did
admit
it,
you're
I'll
stupid.
take it. I don't
Yeah.
care what it is. Yeah.
I didn't know what else to do, so I just started.
It just didn't work out for us. But so somebody's watching this saying, "Okay, Robert, it's you're saying this while, you know, 2008, 2009, Dow drops off and it goes down to, I don't know what the number was. It goes down to 6,500 at one point, and I don't know the exact month on when it hit, but it hit 6,500 points. And 65,
and it was at 14.
And it was at 14, and it went to 65. So that's 50%.
Yeah.
You could have bought Ford stock at that time. I think like 75 cents or $1, and all these other things that took place at the time. Everything was cheap to buy, right? So that takes place, and then we go from 6,500 to 16,000 to 29,000. And I have a friend of mine where I said, "Hey, you remember that one book Harry Dent wrote? I don't know if you remember Harry Dent when he wrote a book talking about the fact that the Dow's going to go to 42,000, et cetera, and the opposite happened, right?"
The great boom I had.
The great boom, yes. And then there was the other book, which is like, well, it's going to be the opposite. The market's going to tank, and the market went up. So my buddy said, whatever Harry Dent writes, do the opposite. Okay, I don't know if you remember this book.
Harry is a friend of mine. Harry, what they're saying about you?
We're taking your counsel, except my buddy says do the opposite. And then there was another book that was written.
I'm not in the stock market, so I'm not the guy to ask. And I just don't trust the market because it's so manipulated. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, that book on fake money, fake teachers, fake assets, the Dow. This book, Who Stole My Pension, I write about what is America's #1 export. Do you know what it is? Toxic assets. You know, 2008 was Wall Street.
Toxic assets. Toxic assets.
CDOs, MBSs.
Yes.
You know, derivatives. And so what is it today? Wall Street just looted the pensions. So this book, Who Stole My Pension, it's like I said, my co-author is an SEC attorney. And he got sick and tired of seeing all these bankers loot the pensions and get paid bonuses. And then the labor union guys who manage the funds get paid bonuses. And the guys who manage it get paid bonus. Meanwhile, the workers get screwed. So when this next crash comes, it's going to be horrible. Now you look at the other guys. So There's two authors. Ted Siddell, SEC attorney. His father was a CIA operative in Uganda, and Idi Amin killed his father. So his family went broke because there was no body. He couldn't collect anything because no body, no corpse. Whereas my father ran for political office against the governor of Hawaii, and he got crushed. And the governor says, "You're no job, no paycheck, no pension." So my old man's broke. So Ted and I are about the same age, and we come back. He said, "My father has no money. My family's starving. My family was starving because my father lost everything." So it kind of put us on edge. You know what I mean? I don't trust my government. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I like Trump, but they can't save me. You know, Trump, Biden, Sanders. I mean, it's a cast of characters, right? You got the Donald on one side, and then you got Comrade Sanders, a commie, and then you got Pocahontas, and then you got Alfred E. Newman, Buttigieg. It's a reality TV show up there. You're counting on the government to take care of you? I mean, wake up.
So you don't at all look at it as they have an effect over your net worth or your next moves?
No.
So your
that's good. You want to make sure that no matter who's in office or if it crashes, you're okay. That's the most important thing you can do.
You don't pivot based on presidents?
No, of course not. They don't affect me at all.
You don't pivot based on presidents?
No, I'm not a stock guy, that's why.
Okay.
So I'm a real estate guy.
So for you, it's...
I own businesses. So the Rich Dad Company does better in a crash. And apartment houses, they always do well because people have to have someplace to live. And I own oil wells because people are always burning oil. So I always protect my assets that they're crash proof.